Alright, in this video I don't have a project this week. I wanted to talk more about how I set up my shop. It's only a 2-car garage. I only get to use about 3/4 of it. But I figured this would be a good way to give somebody else an idea or a know-how, what they need to do, kind of some ideas to set up a small shop of their own. But basically, for me, I gotta have multiple things in each area. So if I'm over there, I got certain things there. If I'm over here, I just don't have room to put everything all in one certain spot. And for me, I'm very cheap when it comes to building my benches, or as you can see here, a fake wall to cover up the rest of the garage where laundry area is. I just need to be able to get to things, know where they are, and they all have a place. It's my own little system that I worked out. So I guess we'll just start here. This is covering, like I said, the laundry area, the washer dryer, the door into the house. So I kind of keep a lot of my screws here, my glues, safety equipment, my lathe, as you can see, my chisels are there, drill bits are right there because the drill press is there. We'll get over to that. But this is kind of like my main area of all my screws and glues and fasteners and everything like that. I keep my drills over there just because there's nowhere for them to put them here. So I'll take you around. I'll show you some other areas where I've built some things. Everything in here is made out of basically just recycled material. I haven't had to buy any material to build the benches specifically. It's either scrap wood left over or things I picked up for free all over the garage. I'll show you as we go along. So obviously when doing woodworking, one of the more important things to have is clamps. Like I said before, I'm cheap, so I mainly buy mine at Harbor Freight, but they work great. You can see I keep them all right here. I got my spring clamps over there, but anyways, when it comes to clamps, I've bought a ton off of Craigslist, and I bought them at Harbor Freight. That's it. I don't have any super name brand expensive clamps. I keep it simple, I keep it cheap. They work great, they work well. You just got to be careful which ones you buy, especially at yard sales or on Craigslist. Make sure you check it around, see what you're looking at, and make sure they work well. And nobody's watching. So like I said over there at the other wall, multi-use areas are a big part of my shop. So over here I keep a bunch of drill bits here. Files are literally on little hangers up against my cabinet, along with these doors I made. Keeps all my everyday tools and measuring stuff right there. And in the cabinet is where I keep a lot of junk. To have a cabinet like that makes a big difference. You can have stuff inside of it and you can have stuff hanging on the outside of it. And that can consolidate 3 to 4 areas into one small area, and it really helps with other areas too. So most people like to stick to making only certain things, and they don't do a whole lot of different things. But if you're anything like me, I build generally almost anything, between lounge chairs to a cutting board to mallets to scroll saw work to all kinds of things. And that's the big factor that you're going to have to look into, is what you want to make for the area you have. For me, I make way too many different things for the area I'm in because I need all these different large and small tools and nail guns and clamps, and I got way too much shit for this little area, but I don't have a choice. So that's why I've consolidated everything into certain areas of the shop. I got crap everywhere, but for me it works. It's kind of like if you watch a Jimmy DiResta, all his stuff all over the place in there, but it works for him. It works for his creativity, and it makes him help. Or doesn't make any sense, makes him help. It gets him going, gets his thinking going, and it helps his creativity, like I said. So over here is where I keep my scroll saw, another reclaimed cabinet. Another thing too is if you run out of wall space, you can't see it, but up here I have clamps hanging literally from my ceiling because I've ran out of room everywhere else. And most of my tools I didn't buy brand new. The only things I bought brand new were the lower end, not quite as expensive, like my scroll saw. Scroll saw was only 200 bucks new. I mean, I bought my drills new, blades and bits and stuff like that. I shop a lot at Harbor Freight. It helps. For me, in the long run, it's not worth it, but if you don't have the money, and you can't really afford to save up like me, I have 3 kids, I commute to work, plus work, my job, I'm a mechanic. I've got probably $75,000, $80,000 in tools at work. This I gotta buy the second hand, the lower end stuff. I'm not allowed to buy the expensive things. Well, my wife doesn't see that. But let's flip it around and I'll show you some other areas. So once again, consolidating space is the biggest epidemic that you're going to have when you have a small shop. Like I said it before, I'll say it again, I cram everything I can into certain areas, but it's still accessible, it's still organized, and it still looks good. So here I keep all my nail guns down here in this little case. Then in boxes of nails, I keep them all in this little trough thing. There's more clamps here. I keep my little benchtop joiner here. My welders right here. Scrap wood there. I got more bar clamps over here. There's even a drawer right here underneath my bench for quick little things like that. Let's go over here. So when in a small shop, one of the most important things to do, my opinion, is certain areas should be dedicated for certain tools. Like over here, I keep all my sanding stuff over here. My orbital sanders, disc sander, belt sander, spindle sander. I keep my sanding discs up there, other stuff there. That's one thing that will really help out in a small space is you're keeping certain tools and certain accessories for those tools in that one area. You know exactly where it is at all times. So for a small shop, I'd recommend going just a benchtop drill press like this one, because you can either set it on your bench, or this one I took the stand for my bandsaw and put it on top of that, so that way I have storage underneath that, and another shelf underneath that to keep more things and keep it organized and set up. They are a little underpowered, they're not as strong as a floor model drill press, but like I said, depending on what you do, a benchtop will work just fine. So I'll bring it down. Oh, there it goes. Because that way you got storage directly underneath it, and then down lower you have even more storage. So for me, one of the most important things to having a small workshop is versatility. All my tools, besides like the table saw and the arm saw, they're all benchtop tools. I can pick them up, move them, get them out of the way if I need to. For instance, my planer right here is just sitting on my old router table cabinet. That, I can pick it up, move it out of the way if I'm doing something bigger on my bandsaw. Same thing with the bandsaw. It's just a benchtop model sitting on a box I put on top of an old tool stand. Once again, for more storage down there. So for me, I'm pretty well set tool-wise, organized for my tools. The biggest problem you're going to run into in a small shop is where to put all your materials. I've got things everywhere, hardwoods and plywoods, and down here all the way across the whole bottom of my bench over here is a whole stack of redwood I got reclaimed. For me, that's the most pain in the ass thing, is trying to find somewhere to put all the goddamn scraps and the big stuff. Here, let's go outside, I'll show you. You can see right there, those are all pallet offcuts. This is going to be the biggest thing you run into in having a small shop, where to put all your materials. But one of the most important things you want to have is good dust filtration, or exit, what the fuck do you want to call it? Shit, oh, dust collection. That's, god damn it. It's a good dust collection system. There's plenty of them out there. I know a ton of guys, they buy the Harbor Freight one. I got lucky, I got a deal on a Delta model one. That thing works great. I got it hooked up to all my big machines. The other thing too is a table saw. Like before, like a lot of other things, you can get them off Craigslist, and that's where I got mine. Mine's just a Delta contractor saw that I set up on a stand. But for somebody that's just starting out and wants to really get into it, I'd go for Craigslist. They've got a lot of good deals out there. There's a lot of shitty people, but there's also a lot of honest people. What I tend to look for is, if I'm looking for a certain tool, or if I'm just browsing Craigslist, what I like to do is I like to see if they have other tools in their garage or in their shop, and that gives me an idea, okay, well maybe they did some other work. So they don't just have this a shitty table saw just sitting there they just want to get rid of and doesn't work worth a shit. That's how I've always done it, and that's always worked for me. You always ask them, oh, do you have any other tools you're looking to sell, or maybe you want to make a package deal on something. Even something you don't really need to use, and you can resell it and make some extra cash from what you just spent. Go towards some. So, I hope this helped out. I hope it was informative to some people, some other guys trying to set up a small shop. Whether it's in a shed, in a big garage, in a big shop. There's always different ways to do it. It's just the way I've done it. The way I like to set my things up. And the other thing I forgot to mention too is one of the most important parts in my shop for me is my music. So I got a big old 10-inch subwoofer down on the floor and a couple other speakers, and it really gets me concentrated. It just gets me going and makes me work better, I guess you could say. I don't know. Anyways, I hope it was an informative video, gave you guys some ideas, and thanks for watching.
Yeah.